Assalamu alaikum. At the outset, let me congratulate Old Students Association of MS Sabu Siddiq Institution of Engineering and Technology for organizing Founders Day program that commemorating the noble souls like Muhammad Haji Sabu Siddiq and Abdul Razak Kalsekar Sah. On this occasion, apart from various other programs, they have also planned one seminar on the topic relevance of technical education in today's world. When President of OSA, Mr. Abdul Samad, asked me to deliver this talk, I was very happy. And in fact, I wanted to come and do my presentation live there at the program venue. But because of my ill health, please bear with me. I'm sending you this recorded version of my talk. I hope you bear with. So thanks once again inviting me for this talk. Let me share with you certain thoughts related to the topic. For your knowledge, let me introduce. I am Dr. Abdul Razak Honnutagi, Director of Anjuman Islam's Kalsekar Technical Campus, New Panvel. I will start my talk with this important quote by one of the professionals from IBM. What he says, the only thing that gives a competitive edge is to know what we know, how we use what we know, and how fast we know something new. A very vital statement made by him, wherein the focus is about knowing and application of the knowledge, and also knowing new things consistently and keep applying it. So this is what the crux of today's world. Today's knowledge era demands this, and it demands all of us to be lifelong learners. With this quote, I will also draw your attention on how we progressed over the ages, starting from agricultural age. We kept on progressing, and it was all depending on demand and supply requirements of the human beings. It was agricultural age till AD 1740, and when again more production was felt necessary, industrial age introduced, and it went till 1960s, and again more production was expected. Then it started again raising the bar by way of post-industrial age. It went up to 1995, again it started going down. Then at that point of time, a new era started, which we call it as information age. Right now, we are in the information age, and it is also clubbed with knowledge age. So it is all still prevailing, started from 1995, and it is going to remain and reach peak somewhere in 2050. And meanwhile, in between this, around 2025, it is already started, but dominantly in 2025, a new wave is likely to take dominance, and that is called robotic and biotic age. In robotic and biotech age, so we need to follow this particular path, which is very steep, and it will not remain for a long time, maybe for next 50 years, but the growth is very steep. Now you can see this. Now, whatever programs we offer, whatever educational systems we devise, they should either suit to information and knowledge age, and also our institution should be equipped to deal with robotic and biotech age. So this is what the relevance today. So when I say relevance of technical education in today's world, it is necessarily being with this curve. And if we remain along with this curve, then we keep growing and we allow all stakeholders or students to grow. So this is how we are progressing. Now with this background in mind, what is that required for our students? The students community today, I think whether you like it or not, we are simply making them learn rotted things. Now here, there is a popular saying in the field of technical education. If we end up providing our career and technical education students only the routine skills we usually provide them with, they will be of no value to the employers who are buying the automated equipment that is making those routine skills irrelevant. So that means when machines, automated equipment can perform work, then why human beings are required to perform those routine skills? So therefore, human beings are required to be coming with non-routine skills, which machines cannot do. So today, everything is fed into the machine. Machines are made to learn through artificial intelligence, and machines are able to do the work. And when machines are performing routine tasks, routine skills they are getting developed, then why human beings are required? And what is the point in making human beings to learn same skills that machines can do? So now it's the time that we are not supposed to become machines. We are supposed to acquire higher order skills, which machines cannot learn. And that is how the relevant comes into play. And that is how the technical education should play its role in today's world. And also, we heard a lot about Industry 4.0. Likewise, our education journey also started from education 1.0, then 2.0. Now we are in 3.0. So if you see this landscape in today's requirements, whether it is technical education, higher education, school education, whatever, it is all about our learners, our learning, our knowledge, academics, teaching pedagogies, our graduateness, technology, what we use, learning location. If you focus on these components, in Education 3, our learners are co-developers and co-researchers. And our learning is lifelong learning. Our knowledge is open, free, contextual, reinvented, and applied type. Our academics is learning designers and leaders. Our teaching is co-constructed and created. It is not only teachers' monopoly. Graduateness prepared for uncertain multiple careers, not only a focus on single career. They should be multidisciplinary professionals. Our technology is both digital and mobile based. Our learning locations enabling chosen and everywhere. It is not fixed at one particular place. So this is how the landscape of education 3.0. So when this is prevailing, then we must put all our best efforts to make our technical education relevant to the world. All this is because of certain transformation that has taken place from previous century to current 21st century. And what is that? In 20th century, the focus was on transportation, on cars, planes and trains, energy, materials, nation, states, public policy, and so on. But in 21st century, the focus is now on communications, computers and network, knowledge, bits, nationalism, and markets. So this is how the transformation has taken place. And in this transformed world, we are also dealing with age of knowledge. As I said, information age or knowledge age. And in knowledge age, what is the issue? People are educated and they are full with ideas. And when educated people are full with ideas, they are looking in terms of prosperity, security, and social well-being. Our educational landscape should address all these issues, not only prosperity, but also security and social well-being, because educated people are the most valuable resource for 21st century societies and their institutions. And there are, in fact, certain forces of change. Why all this is happening in the age of knowledge? Because of knowledge explosion, because of globalization, because of high performance workplace, there is a diversity, accelerating technological change, non-linear knowledge transfer, changing societal needs. There are financial imperatives, technology drivers are dominant, market forces are acting upon, and so on. So these are the forces of change that is making technical education to change, to become relevant. We cannot rely upon the old traditional system of technical education. These are the reasons, the forces of change. Therefore, the themes of our times today is exponential growth of new knowledge, globalization of commerce and culture, lifelong educational needs of citizens in a knowledge-driven global economy, increasing diversity of our population and the growing needs of undeserved communities, impact of new technologies that evolve at exponential rates. For example, information age, biotechnology, nanotechnology, and so on. And even time scales are compressed and they are non-linear in nature. That nature of the transfer of knowledge from campus to commercial marketplace, it is non-linear, not just linear as in previous cases. These are the themes of our times. So with these themes, our technical education should be aligned. So therefore, we need to devise and adopt the new ways of making our students, our graduates learn higher order skills. So with this background, again, if I call back your attention on forces of change, as I said, knowledge explosion, globalization, high performance workplace, diversity, technological change, knowledge transfer. This is leading to the forces on the university education system in terms of economic, societal needs, technology, and markets. And this in turn making us think in terms of evolution, revolution, otherwise extinction. So therefore, if universities are to survive, if they do not remain extinct, then what is required is we need to adapt to these forces of change. So this is how we need to go about. So therefore, there are many scholars, they said about future of the university education, the future of technical education. What they said, if you look at the statement made by Mr. Peter Drucker, a management guru, 30 years from now, the big university campuses will be released. Universities won't survive. It is as large a change as when we first got the printed book. Likewise, the another thinker, William Wolf, he says, if you believe that an institution that has survived for a millennium cannot disappear in just a few decades, just ask yourself what has happened to the family farm. Frank Rhodes, he says, I wonder at times if you are not like the dinosaurs, looking up at the sky at the approaching comet and wondering whether it has an implication for our future. So these are the powerful statements which is telling something about the future of university education, whether they survive or extinct. So therefore, it is the time, all of us, to create a unique, hands-on, minds-on, and hearts-on technical education system. I repeat, to create a unique, hands-on, minds-on, and hearts-on technical education system. For that, I will take you through a case study, and the case study, of course, of an institution which is headed by my professor, my philosopher, my guide, which has become a standing example today in Karnataka. And they did a lot of study and they gained experience from their visit to Stanford and other universities in US. And they studied that ecosystem of technical education in Stanford University. And then they started making sense on their campus. What they did, say for example, in the present examination system, memorization occupies a dominant place. Most of our engineering students, what they do, all throughout the semester, they attend their lectures, laboratories or not, but at the end, before examination, they do some preparation, they mug up and reproduce in examination, they get some marks, and that's what. This is how our present examination system is. No doubt, recalling of factual knowledge, though essential to any examination, but it is only one of the several major abilities to be demonstrated by the graduates. But what is most important for our graduates is the assessment process must also test higher level ability. For example, ability to apply knowledge, ability to solve complex problems, ability to analyze the problems, synthesize and design. These are the higher order abilities which normally machines won't do, and we are expected to do it as human beings. Therefore, our students' level of assessment should be little higher now. So this is what they did as an experiment, and they are successful on their campus. So that is by way of introducing a very rational framework called outcome-based education, which we in our campuses, in our technical institutions, we follow that model, but that model is being followed not in letter and spirit, therefore we are not getting the expected results. But if it is done as required by that philosophy, then definitely we get the results. And here is an example. If you see, there is something called program outcomes. When I say program, it is a graduation, the outcome of our graduate. So the student capability at the end of graduation are called program outcomes, and these are also called graduate attributes. And globally, all engineering graduates are expected to follow these 12 graduate attributes. They are defined in ABET and also in NBA, National Board of Accreditation of our country. So all these program outcomes are attained after going through so many courses over 4 years through a particular program design by content delivery, following a pedagogy and assessment process. A number of courses are taught. Each course has got certain outcomes and ultimately collectively achieving the program outcome. This is how the outcome-based education framework is what they call it as. And this Outcome-based educational framework definitely yielded their result. Now, how did they implement? That is most important. They identified in the system that there are two weak links. What are those two weak links? They thought there is one weak link where bold experimentation was required. That was bold experimentation and innovations in design and delivery of courses. And the second weak link was realistic measurement of attainment of outcomes and quality of assessment. Now, these two weak links were addressed by that institute. So what they did is a part of bold experimentation and innovations in designing and delivery of courses and subjects, why it was felt necessary. What are the drivers of change? That all they did brainstorming. Then they found that there are challenges for outcome-driven process, and they are called higher level problem solving skills, then applying analysis, design, principles to solve real life problems with constraints, communication, teamwork, lifelong learning skills. These are the outcome driven challenges. Then the next level of second type of drivers were industry driven challenges, catching up with ever changing technology trends, gap between industry approach, process, and academic practices, multidisciplinary approach in engineering. Then third were student-driven challenges. So in this, traditional classrooms are failing to retain student interest and attention for learning to happen. So the classrooms are not the right place now to make students learn. So today's students prefer what? They prefer experiential learning. They want contextual learning. They are situated. So there are various learning environments to be created. These are student-driven challenges. So what they did, they aligned all these challenges together and they made a sense. How they did? So the first part, they focused on program outcomes, engineering knowledge, problem analysis, design, development of solutions, conducting investigation of complex problems, modern tool usage, and the engineer and society, environment and sustainability, and so on. There are 12 graduate attributes. Every engineering graduate is expected to develop these outcomes. So first 5 outcomes are called the technical outcomes, and the next 7 are professional outcomes. So therefore, the focus should not be only on technical domain or technical outcomes, but our graduate should be even professionally developed. So professional outcomes are also important. So by combining all this, what they did, so they employed a model where they re-looked at the existing courses. Then they introduced new courses. They thought of pedagogical innovations, practice-based curriculum they devised, which is contextual, connected, and continuous. And after connecting all this, they did a lot of study, research, and they learned. Ultimately, they thought of going for social innovation, engineering exploration, product design and realization, research experience for undergraduates, global immersion in innovation and entrepreneurship, then Harvard Calculus Reform Movement, and so on. So this way, new courses were designed to give that all experience to students under outcome-based framework. This is what they did. So in the first year, you will be surprised to know that in the first year itself, they introduced a course called Social Innovation. In that, what they did, the idea was to build students' capacity to use problem-solving skills to address social issues through innovative solutions, to develop skills in need, identification, ideation, synthesis, creativity, and design thinking. And they thought student learning happens through on-field projects. They just pushed first-year students on field. And then every year they did about 250 projects done only by first-year students in social space. For example, developing drawing tools for blind, and they were sent back to school to make some relevance into the school. And on roadside, vendors they contacted to find solutions for their problems. And likewise, first-year students were made to understand social problems, and then they were forced to do social innovation. This is how the social innovation course was introduced. Then again in the first year, there is something called engineering exploration. What they did in engineering exploration, in order to give highly experiential learning through design activities, applying analysis and design principles to solve real-life problems, connecting needs and technologies, understanding multidisciplinary approach in engineering, And this particular engineering exploration course was designed in collaboration with Virginia Tech in USA. So they collaborated with that university. And what they did, they came with something called engineering exploration. See, imagine when this was introduced, the joy of students actually doing, actually analyzing, actually designing in the first year level. So here in our traditional university system, we just simply keep on teaching them physics, chemistry, maths, and all rotted things. But here there's an institution who try to introduce courses like engineering exploration, where the projects were done. So what has happened? This engineering exploration at first year gave rise to many projects. This is the actual happening, actual photographs of that campus. Then subsequently they introduced a course like product design and realization. It was delivered to over 1100 students in 6 semesters, and it was interdisciplinary in nature. Now what we do, we only confine to mechanical or electronics or electrical and so on, and we never think of having a multidisciplinary approach. So here they did something called interdisciplinary course, product design and realization. So around 1100 students in 6th semester, they delivered this course. And it is not happened just magically, but they studied requirements, they found functional areas, logical solution elements they identified, what are the physical elements, and all that process was well designed. And it was all nothing but project-based learning. And more than 200 multidisciplinary teams were working, and design tools from all 3 domains were given. And in fact, a learning factory got created on the campus, which is 8,000 square feet, state-of-the-art prototyping facility was created called Learning Factory. And this is the place where the 6th semester students are doing multidisciplinary projects. This is how the trial was done. And in this course, these are the few examples of Learning Factory, and you see here. So Learning Factory products are shown here. So this is how, see the students, how busy they are into that Learning Factory, right? Day and night, they keep working. So this is the model of KLE Technological University, Hubballi, and how they did. At first year, they introduced social innovation, engineering exploration for connecting needs to technology, understanding societal needs. And at second and third year, they introduced engineering design, product realization, and subsequently the higher order skill focus was given, higher level problem solving skills, design skills to solve real life problems, interdisciplinary teamwork and communication. This was the focus. And likewise with industry collaboration. So they also joined hands with industry, local industry there. So they designed curriculum, they introduced flipped classroom concept, advanced courses were introduced in line with industry requirements, foundation courses were introduced. So here came the technology trends, industry approach and process, industry standards. So ultimately a strong curriculum spiral got created, which is continuous, connected and contextual. And this particular model has given a upper hand to this university. A simple college, affiliated college got transformed into a KLE Technological University. This is how exactly the 2 weak links, they brainstormed and they ultimately became successful in adopting that. So therefore, in technical education, to make it relevant in today's world, why assessment is so important. What educational researchers say about that. George Miller says, assessment drives students' learning. Similarly, another researcher, Ramsden, he says, assessment drives what students pay attention to and defines the actual curriculum. And another researcher, the law of educational cause and effect states that for every evaluative action, there is an equal or greater educational reaction. Similarly, Mr. Donald says curriculum instruct teachers what to teach, exam instructs students what to learn. These are the experiences of all great scholars. So therefore, the key drivers for reforms in assessment and examination strategy is success of outcome-based education framework depends on realistic measurement of attainment of outcomes, importance of higher order abilities and professional skills for employability of graduates, growing concerns about quality, employability of the graduate. So these are the reforms which we need to take. And the first one can be connecting to outcome to assessment. And the second two are improving structure and quality of assessment. So this is how things were required. And all this was done by connecting to learning levels of Bloom's taxonomy. And the first 4 lower order levels, from remembering to analyzing, fixed our examination pattern. And the next from analyzing to creating by introducing course projects, mini project, minor project, capstone project, open-ended problems, and all that experiment was done so that higher order learning was happening for the students. And this is what the relevance of technical education. And this is how we need to innovate our technical education system. So ultimately, what has happened by doing all this experimentation, the overall impact on this transformational journey of KLE Technological University is that their placement, they jumped by 300%, 450% jump in salary offered, and 400% jump in internship offered, 340% jump in research output, and most importantly, in MIT report, MIT's report, this KLE Technological University is highlighted as university to be watched. This is the recognition they gain. This is the impact they gain, and this is what we need to make our institutions, our technical education system most relevant in today's world order. So this is how we need to move on. So this is the case study which I wanted to share with you. And today, several colleges across India are replicating KLE technological model. So this model will definitely give results and make our technical education more relevant. And I acknowledge my professor, Dr. Ashok Shettar, for allowing me to use his case study to present in today's seminar. So for all that, good news is that in our country, a new national education policy has been launched. And this new educational policy is having all those dimensions that can make our campuses more relevant, our technical education, higher education, school education, everything most and more relevant to today's world order. And therefore, we all need to align now with the new policy of national education 2020, and that will give us an upper hand, and that will keep us relevant in today's world. And with this, I stop here. And of course, in a very short period of time, I cannot put all dimensions in front of you. I just made some effort to tell you about the relevance of technical education in today's world. And in future, for more detailed discussion, be it on national education policy or more detailed discussion of making outcome-based education philosophy really working in our institutions in technical education, and all that can be discussed with experts or faculty members in more details. But today, I thought of just introducing you certain key factors of various dimensions of technical education. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk to you about the topic. And I once again thanks OSA for allowing me to speak.